Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Wednesday, March 1. I am Abigail Smythe. Among the stories in this evening's newscast, the British cruise line may be banning Jamaicans after 17 nationals attempted to abscond in Belize. Electronic health records system to be implemented in hospitals and health centers across the island. Burned skeletal remains found in St. Elizabeth. Decomposing body of woman found floating in the Black River. Dancehall artist shot and killed in Kingston. In business, a budget for current fiscal year surpasses $1 trillion mark. In the region, St. Lucia begins political process of replacing London-based Privy Council as the island's highest court. Further overseas, train crash kills at least 36 people in Greece. And in sports, South Africa leads West Indies in day 2 of their first test.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The body of a man was found near a crashed motor vehicle along a roadway in Green Island, Hanover, Tuesday afternoon. He has been identified as 37-year-old Mark McCourty, a music producer of a Kingston 3 address. Reports from the Green Island police are that about 11:30, they were called to the scene of what residents thought was an accident in a section of Bamboo Bottom in Green Island. The motor car had overturned along the roadway. However, upon close inspection, the police realized they were dealing with a murder scene. It was discovered that the man was lying on his back near the overturned vehicle with what appeared to be a single gunshot wound to the head. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue for post-mortem examination. The police, who are currently investigating the matter, say there are no breakthroughs or motives in the case at this time. And still in Hanover, police have launched a manhunt for the occupants of a white motor car who shot and injured a man in Lances Bay in Lucia Tuesday night. Police reports are that the man saw the vehicle and went to check it out when he was shot by one of the occupants. It was reported that around 9:15, the 31-year-old was at a shop in the community talking with other persons when he saw a white Toyota Axio drive up. The police say the man went to look at the car and check it out when one of the occupants exited with a firearm and opened fire at him before the vehicle sped off. The man reportedly ran and was later discovered suffering from a gunshot wound to the ankle. He was assisted to the hospital where he was treated and admitted in stable condition. Skeletal remains were found in a burnt-out car in Coker District in northern St. Elizabeth Wednesday morning. A police source says a passerby saw the burnt-out vehicle and called the police. The police found the remains inside the car. The deceased has not yet been identified, and we will have updates as they come by. The decomposing body of a woman was found floating in the Black River in Barton, St. Elizabeth on Tuesday. It is reported that about 5 p.m., residents saw the body and called the police. It was partially clothed. Initial investigations carried out by detectives have uncovered that the now deceased was not recognized as being from the community. She was reportedly seen in the district on Saturday in the same area where her body was found in the company of a man who was also not from the community. Police say no obvious marks of violence were observed on the body. The body was taken to the morgue for a post-mortem examination and investigations are ongoing. A businessman was shot and killed at an exotic nightclub in Negril, Westmoreland, Wednesday morning. He has been identified as 40-year-old O'Neill Smith, otherwise called San, of Good Hope District in the parish. Reports from the police are that Smith was purchasing food at a cook shop at the Scrub-a-Dub nightclub shortly after 4 o'clock when he was confronted by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, Smith was seen lying face down with gunshot wounds to his head and upper body. He was assisted to the Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Investigations are ongoing. A dance hall artiste was shot and killed by unknown assailants at the intersection of Sandringham and Burlington Avenues in Kingston 10 Wednesday morning. He is Alqual, given name Emmanuel Eccleston, of a Lancaster Avenue, Kingston 10 address. Reports from the Halfway Tree Police are that about 1 a.m., residents heard explosions and summoned them. On arrival of the lawmen, Eccleston was seen lying on the ground with gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. No motive has been established for the killing. In 2021, Alqual inked a deal with the label Pusha Youth Records. Before that, he carved out a reputation of clashing with other DJs and artists, which resulted in him becoming known as more of a clash artist. He cultivated an underground following with tracks like Think Smart and Sub-Zero. An elderly blind man died Tuesday morning in Esher St. Mary after his one-bedroom house caught fire. He has been identified as 88-year-old Alfred Cracky Thompson. It is reported that sometime after 5 Tuesday morning, residents saw fire coming from Thompson's house and called the Port Marella fire station. However, by the time the firemen arrived, the house was completely gutted. Thompson's charred remains were found in the rubble during cooling down operations. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined. A St. James mechanic who reportedly stabbed his common-law wife multiple times and who was hit on the head with a stone by the woman during an altercation at their home has died. 35-year-old Sheldon Campbell, otherwise called Pong, succumbed at the Cornwall Regional Hospital on Monday. The woman has since been taken into custody. The altercation took place Sunday night at the couple's home in the community of Tucker. The police report that about 10:30, an argument developed between them. It is further reported that Campbell used a knife to stab the woman. She then reportedly picked up a stone and used it to hit him in the head. He fell to the ground. They were both taken to hospital for treatment, where Campbell succumbed the following day. News emerged on Wednesday that British cruise line Marella Cruises announced that it is no longer accepting Jamaican nationals on one of its signature ships, the Marella Discover 2. Marella Cruises said the decision was made after 17 Jamaican nationals who were on the Marella Discover 2 attempted to abscond in Belize on Monday. It says in total, 7 persons absconded while some were returned by police to the ship. As a result, Jamaican residents are no longer allowed on board the ship, including on their sails. In the meantime, representatives from the Ministry of Tourism say there has been no official decision to ban Jamaicans from vacationing on the Marella Discover 2. However, at least 2 Jamaicans who were set to board the Marella Discover 2 on Tuesday were turned back when they attempted to access the vessel. It is understood that an advisor was sent to cruise agents last Tuesday, February 21, informing them about the move to blacklist Jamaicans. Despite the advisory, Executive Director of Jamaica Vacations in the Ministry of Tourism with responsibility for airlift and cruise, Joy Roberts, says an official decision is yet to be made. Ms. Roberts says the ministry is still in talks. The cruise made its departure from Jamaica on February 21. Marella Cruises is a British cruise line operated by TUI UK, offering cruise holidays around Europe and the Caribbean and Asia. The Jamaica Bankers Association, JBA, the police, and the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, say they have no evidence that $35 million has been stolen from a financial institution in St. Anne by an employee. They were responding to allegations that a female worker had walked out with $35 million and had taken a flight to Canada last week. The St. Anne police have steadily maintained that they have had no formal report to any of the stations in the parish. The BOJ has also been unable to shed light on the rumored St. Anne case. Since the story about the rumored $35 million hit began making the rounds on social media, questions Questions have swirled around the identity of the alleged employee, name of the institution, and whether it was possible to walk out with that much cash without anyone noticing. One source who works in the financial industry notes that vault access typically requires authorization from more than one employee. The rumor comes on the heels of several recent high-profile cases of fraud at financial institutions. On Tuesday, the Ministry of Health and Wellness hosted the official signing ceremony for the implementation of an electronic health records system for Jamaica. This is a historic move in public health for the island. The system, which turns on the philosophy of one patient, one record, sees the transition to a paperless system for patient records and the upload and sharing of these records among healthcare providers for the seamless and collaborative delivery of care.
The electronic health records, or EHR, and we'll refer a lot to it now as EHR for short, is in fact the wave of the future in healthcare delivery. And for Jamaica, we are proud to be the only country in the Caribbean that is moving ahead with this with our critical partners. And we are proud to be the ones to not only pave the way, but hopefully to set the example for others to follow. We are willing to be the case study by which our brothers and sisters in the region and beyond have a basis on which to assess and to implement such an important, game-changing process. A successful implementation of this will put public health even more advanced in many cases than the private sector and what they're doing currently in Jamaica. Not to be critical of them, but I believe we can say we will equate at least to what is being offered.
The implementation of the system, whose features include a patient registration system for appointment setting and assignment of patients in the triage process of a facility, will mean shorter wait times for patients, less cost in providing services, increased productivity, reduced staff frustration, and increased service satisfaction levels. Other features that help to make that possible include a seamless interface of critical diagnostic imaging that will enable healthcare professionals to see X-rays and CT scans on computers and tablets provided within the facilities. The next 18 months will see the just over $5 million rollout of the system across 13 health facilities, including the Spanish Town Hospital, Sentence Bay Hospital, Maypen Hospital, Chapelton Community Hospital, Greater Portmore Health Center, and Brownstown Health Center. The Health Ministry notes that the implementation of the system is paid for under the Health Systems Strengthening Program, for which the government of Jamaica was given financing to the tune of $50 million by the Inter-American Development Bank. A portion of that sum is being invested in the system. In business, the budget for the current fiscal year has passed the $1 trillion mark following the passing of the fourth supplementary estimates. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark tabled the new estimates in the House of Representatives Tuesday afternoon. The budget for the 2022-2023 fiscal year rose to $998 billion, following the tabling of the third supplementary estimates on January 31 this year. It was anticipated that the estimates of expenditure for the 2023-2024 fiscal year would mark the first time that the country would post a $1 trillion budget. The finance minister told his colleagues in the House that another $10 billion has been added to the current budget to facilitate payments under the compensation review exercise. That will be offset by a reduction in capital expenditure by just under $6 billion. In the region, St. Lucia has begun the political process of replacing the London-based Privy Council as the island's highest court, with the government brushing aside calls for a referendum on the issue. Both Prime Minister Philip J. Pear, who tabled the amendment to the Constitution, and former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony, one of the early architects of the legislation governing the CCJ, insisted that the present Constitution made no provisions for the referendum. The Prime Minister said the journey gained momentum in 2014 when the Eastern Caribbean Court of Appeal, in an in an advisory opinion, indicated that St. Lucia did not need to hold a referendum before proceeding to join the CCJ, which has both an appellate and original jurisdiction. On the international scene, rescuers combed through flattened, burned-out carriages for survivors and bodies after a passenger train and a freight train crashed head-on in central Greece overnight. The collision killed at least 36 people and injured dozens. The transport minister, Kostas Karamanlis, resigned, saying he felt it was his duty to step down as a basic indication of respect for the memory of the people who died so unfairly. The cause of the crash was not immediately clear, but the station master in the nearby city of Larissa was arrested. 2 more people have been detained for questioning. It is not known at what speed the 2 trains were traveling when they ran into each other just before midnight Tuesday. 3 days of national mourning have been declared. And in sports news, hosts South Africa, with a lead of 179 runs, reached 49 for 4 at stumps on day 2 of the first test against West Indies in Johannesburg. The Proteas' second innings didn't start as strongly as their first. Scores in the match so far: South Africa 342 and 49 for 4, West Indies 212. And overseas, Premier League champions Manchester City cruised into the quarterfinals of the English FA Cup following a polished 3-0 win over Championship side Bristol City at Ashton Gate on Tuesday. Phil Foden scored twice, with the other goal coming from Kevin De Bruyne. 2 other Premier League teams also made progress to the quarterfinals. Fulham stopped Leeds 2-0 in their all-Premier League clash. Brighton and Hove Albion tagged Stoke City 1-0, and Blackburn Rovers of the champions dumped Premier League's Leicester City from the cup, beating them 2-1. And that's it for your news roundup for today. We would appreciate you liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with your family and friends. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a good evening and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!